Okay, what we're going to do is take a look at an AND circuit. So we're going to draw an electrical schematic and a ladder diagram for PB1 and PB2 turns on light 1. Okay, so typical or a traditional electrical schematic might have your voltage source over here, okay, whether it's an AC or DC voltage source. And it would be going to, in this case we were using a push button, so let's use this symbol for a push button. We'll call this 1 PB, and let's call this 2 PB. Okay, and then they are momentary, and they're going to turn on an indicator light. So let's do a light right here, okay, or one PL or one pilot light, and then we could close the circuit up here. Now remember, this is the basic circuit. We could have added some circuit protection here, put a fuse or a circuit breaker or something right here, because the basic things would be voltage, conductors, load, but to get a little more control, it's nice to put a push button and some type of a circuit protection, okay? Now we're going to turn this into a ladder logic. We would flatten it out a little bit. Remember, we have line 1 and line 2, and then we have our rails, and then we have our rungs here. And so coming across here, we would flatten it, and there's where we would put our 1 PB, and here's where we would put our 2 PB. And then on the right side is where we would put our light, okay? And that's what you would have for a ladder diagram. And once again, if there's a fuse, it would show here, or a circuit breaker or something like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use the multimeter and some push buttons to create a little truth table for this, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my push buttons in again. I got 2 of them. And I'm going to bring my multimeter in, okay? And I'm going to set my multimeter here to continuity, and that's going to be my load. I'm not going to be doing a light, and I'm not really going to have a voltage source as our diagram had shown right there. My voltage source is going to be the battery and the multimeter, and my load is going to be the horn and the multimeter, okay? So that's what we're doing. So I've got my little circuit here, and I always touch my leads to make sure I got continuity. I do. Okay. So according to my ladder logic here, it looks like I have from my voltage source to the first push button. So remember, these push buttons, there's normally opens and normally closed, so I'm going to go to the normally open side of that push button. And then it looks like, according to my ladder logic, it goes from the left of the push button to the right of the next push button. So I'm going to go ahead and make the left of that one to the right of this one. Okay, you see that? And then finally, or not quite finally, it goes from the other side of the second push button back to the light. But remember, I'm not using the light, I'm using the multimeter. It's the horn. So to complete my circuit, I'm going to go ahead and connect it back. So if you look at my circuit here, I have a complete loop from voltage through the first button, through the second button, and then complete back to here, and it'll be the continuity there. Okay, so that's what I've got going. So now in order to make the truth table for this AND circuit right here, what we're going to do is put on our push buttons, and we'll put on our load. So my truth table is going to maybe look like this, where it would say 1 PB, 2 PB, and then I'll put horn right here for my multimeter. Okay, so my options here are, this push button could be off, so I'm going to put a 0 to indicate that I haven't pushed it, and this one, it could be there. I put a 0 that I haven't pushed it. My next options are, I could push this one without pushing that one. I could leave this one unactivated, not pushed, and I could push this one. And finally, I could push both of them. So that's what my truth table is going to look like, okay? And so let's go ahead and push it. So 0, 0, well, I don't hear the horn going on right now, so I'm going to go ahead and put a 0 right there. And then if I go 1, 0, that means I got to push this one here. I don't hear the horn. Put a 0 there. So I got a 0 and a 1 here. Let's see, push this one, and there's no horn. Okay? And then I've got a 1 and a 1. So let's push this, and I get a horn. So that's the 1. So there's my complete circuit. I have to push this. That brings the circuit through here, continuity, comes through when I push the second one, comes all the way through and returns to the multimeter. And that is my AND circuit and my truth table.